Tutorial video on SDWAN, also known as Software Defined Wide Area Network.
Hello everybody, my name is Devashish Roy. I'm the Senior Network Trainer as well as Cisco Network Specialist at the Indian Cyber Security Solutions. And these are my contact information for LinkedIn and Twitter. Today I'm going to talk about SD-WAN or Software Defined WAN. We already know WAN is a wide area network which connects two or different networks together or different classes of networks together. Now SD-WAN or Software Defined WAN is a new or alternative approach to the traditional WAN. Here we see controllers are used to transport traffic in SD-WAN. So previously we used to see that mainly VPN, MPLS, these type of services were used to route traffic through ISP. But now controllers are used to route the traffic through the WAN. Not the ISP or say the controller, it plays a pivotal role to route the traffic, not only the ISP. Previously, the old WAN actually routed the traffic through ISP network in separately, say one for MPLS, one for VPN. Now it is a centralized approach. Controller is a centralized approach to route traffic in WAN. Now this is the difference between traditional WAN versus SD-WAN. Traditional WAN, we see that there is a traditional WAN router, SAN is a branch office, and DSL, fiber or any LTE channels are used, and traditional WAN routers are there which are routing the traffic towards the headquarters. So two locations are connected, and through MPLS, through DSL, through fiber, all these things are going separately through the ISP. But there is no centralized approach, and the cost may be also high because of different service providers, and also bandwidth can be also an issue. But here in the case of SD-WAN, we see the SD-WAN controller is there. Now the Cisco is using DNS center as its controller, and these two locations are connected together through the controller. So all the provider networks, DSL, fiber, LTE, any network or MPLS, they are clubbed together and they are forwarded. Data is forwarded. The pivotal role that I was talking about, it is performed by the SD-WAN controller, that is now DNS center, that is the latest controller by the Cisco. Now what is the benefits of SD-WAN? It gives better network performance and it reduces the overhead cost because it is performed by controller. It is a centralized approach, and it provides also more security to the network. You can implement security policies to the controller also. Now we should discuss the different planes or functions of router. So this is definitely related to SD-WAN. So router is a integral part of SD-WAN. So the router doesn't do only the routing part. It does three basic planes or basic functions. Number one is control plane, that it involves the routing functions of a router. So the routing part, the routing protocol, that is done by router, it is included in control plane. Now management plane, we say that the remote connectivity to a router by Telnet SSH, when you connect to the router remotely, that is done by management plane. And data plane is the data forwarding process, a normal data forwarding process of a router. Now in case of SD-WAN, or you can say controller based networking or software defined networking, the control plane of the router role is taken away from the router and is transferred from router to the controller. So the controller does the control plane function, not the router. The router does the management and data plane. JavaScript object notation, JSON, YML, Python scripts, they are used to configure device with the help of controller. So we can configure any configuration on devices on routers. Say we can configure OSPF or any other BGP or any other routing protocol. We can configure VLAN on switches. But for that, we need to make scripts and we need to deploy the scripts to the controller. And that is the difference between the traditional networking and the controller based networking. It is done through scripting. Now the controller say for example the DNS center controller has two logical interfaces. One is northbound and the other is southbound. Northbound interface of the controller is connected to the API application programming interfaces, the software interfaces or scripts that is directly connected to the API or scripts. And through the northbound interface, we deploy the scripts to the controller through the help of API. And southbound interface is connected to the devices, routers or switches, and we are actually pushing the scripts to the routers or switches to configure them through the controller. Now let's come to the SD-WAN components. There are different components of SD-WAN like vManage, vBond, vAnalytics, vSmart, and vEdge. This vManage, vBond, vAnalytics is known as management or orchestration plane. Control plane deals with vSmart controllers, and data plane deals with vEdge routers, like it may be in cloud, it may be in data center, or it may be hosted in campus, branch, or any other local office. Now to go into details of SD-WAN components. First is vManage. What is vManage? vManage is a centralized network management system to monitor or configure any overlay devices, layer 3 switch or routers by scripting. So we have to deploy the scripting, and vManage is a centralized system which pushes the script to the devices. This is actually the network management system, and overlay means the network which is actually forwarding the SD-WAN data through L3 switches, L3 switches or routers. Second is vBond. vBond is the orchestrating plane or orchestrator. It is involved in authentication. So it authenticates the vSmart controllers, means routers actually, and vEdge routers, and coordinates connectivity between them. So actually vEdge routers are there in the customer network, and the vSmart controllers are there in the provider network. So it actually bridges the connection between two, and it also helps in authentication. vSmart. vSmart is the control plane of the architecture, and so control plane function, all the routing protocols, routing functions are done on vSmart controller, and vSmart controllers advertise route, security, and policy information. So they are high-end routers on the ISP level. vEdge is also the router. vEdge is the software hardware routers at sites, the customer sites, the customer router, customer device router, and responsive for the data plane for data forwarding. For example, the Cisco ISR, ASR routers or Cisco Viptela routers, they are in the vEdge. And last is the vAnalytics. vAnalytics is an optional analytics service, so it gives you a visual representation, you can say a GUI representation of your applications and infrastructure in the entire SD-WAN. You can see the picture of the SD-WAN devices. It's a graphical representation of the GUI representation of your analytical service of your SD-WAN. So these were the different components of SD-WAN. So I've told you the SD-WAN theory part. I hope it was informative for you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed it, and if you want more videos like this, then please like our channel on YouTube and also subscribe our channel. So that's it today for SD-WAN. I will come with some new video next day. Until then, it's goodbye.